Hi, hello everybody. Welcome back again to another session of one question a day. We continue with dentin chapter. The question that we are going to discuss is enumerate the various types of dentin or list the various types of dentin, describe primary dentin in detail. So for this, the key will be depending upon the time of formation, we have to say about the primary dentin and tertiary dentin, the place where it happens, the types, the microscopic appearance, points about sclerotic, eburnated dentin, diagrams, root formations, okay, and all about this. So to jump into the answers, this should be the best thing. Dentin, depending upon the time of formation, is classified into primary dentin, secondary dentin, and tertiary dentin. Primary dentin before the root completion, before the root completion. Tertiary dentin in response to a stimuli, especially a noxious stimuli. So, secondary dentin is more towards the pulp, whereas the tertiary dentin is associated with a caries, trauma, or a restorative procedure. Primary dentin can be subsequently classified as mantle dentin and circumpulpal dentin. Mantle dentin is the first ever formed dentin. Mantle means a cloak or a outermost layer of dress, and it is formed just below the DEJ, and it is less mineralized and comparatively soft than the circumpulpal dentin because it has more amount of collagen fibers. These collagen fibers are increased in size, especially of type 3 and called as Monkoff fibers. Whereas the circumpulpal dentin that forms the bulk of the tooth is found below the mantle dentin and very closer to the pulp. It is relatively more mineralized or hard and has collagen fibers of decreased size as compared to the mantle dentin. That is our primary dentin. The space between the primary dentin and the enamel or odontoblast is lined by a newly formed layer of dentin called as predentin. It is adjacent to the odontoblastic or the pulp. Okay, and that is unmineralized structure. It is unmineralized structure. It is more closer to the circumpulpal dentin. Okay, the predentin on mineralization becomes dentin. Depending upon the age, it is about 2 to 6 micrometer in diameter. 6 micrometer is in rapidly dividing or newly secreting dentin or young age. The type, again, going into the classification, we have peritubular dentin and or intratubular dentin. These are dentinal tubules between two dentinal tubules or peri surrounding the dentinal tubules, and they form the wall of the dentinal tubules. They are relatively hypermineralized by about 5% than the intratubular dentin. It is twice thickness in outer dentin than in the inner dentinal space. The space between the odontoblastic process and dentinal tubules is called as the periodontoblastic space and lined by dentinal fluid or the dentinal lymph. The peritubular dentin is last to be decalcified. Intratubular dentin, the space between two dentinal tubules, they remain intact on forming the or decalcifications. Depending upon their composition could be organic, inorganic. Organic is made up of collagen, about 0.5 micrometers, and having a cross banding of 64 nanometers in humans. Inorganic is mainly as hydroxyapatite crystal salts of about 0.1 micrometer thickness and present parallel to collagen fibers forms a network. The root formation instigates a change in the direction of odontoblast, causing the primary secondary dentin variation. And with the root formation, there is a primary dentin bending created. Post root formation, this is accentuated. Hence, the primary and secondary dentin curvature appears. So that brings to an end on the primary dentin and secondary dentin discussion, how things differs. Stay connected with this channel for another question and more questions. Happy learning till we meet again.